Real quick, the only ask I could ever have of you guys is to help spread the word so we can help more women lose body fat, build muscle, reach their goals, and feel insanely confident. And the only way we can do that is if you rate, review, and share this podcast. So the single thing I ask for you to do is if you could leave a review. It will take you 10 seconds. And it will mean the absolute world to me and may change the world of someone else. The biggest thing that I can say that I'm noticing so far is the opposite of what I'm experiencing in a crash. When I get up in the morning, typically I would dive into my phone and I would dive into, I would do the apps thing that I talk about trying to navigate away from. I've definitely loosened my boundary on that. And more so throughout the day, if I'm sitting at my computer and I'm working on something, my phone's right next to me, sometimes I would pick it up and I would just kind of sit there and dead scroll. I am not doing that anymore. Yo, you guys, what is going on? Welcome to the Macro Hour with Nikki Stott, co-founder of WarriorBabe. And on this podcast, we talk about mindset, methodologies, and tactics that will help you lose body fat, build muscle, be strong, and feel insanely confident. I'm your host, Nikki Stott, and welcome to today's episode 157, where I'm going to talk about a personal experience that I am going through right now. And it led for me to embark on this journey because I was experiencing some specific things within my body and my mind that I didn't like and I needed to address. And so in today's episode, you guys, I'm going to share with you why I decided to cut back and now entirely give up caffeine. So here's my story, you guys. So the decision of it's been about 2.5 weeks now. I started around on May 30th. It was a Monday. And the decision kind of came with what I was experiencing with, but also was I'm just doing it. And if you guys don't know me, this is typically how I go about embarking on new journeys and new challenges and new adventures. It's how I started my whole fitness journey. And it was, I wanted to get into, I wanted a better body. And I thought the way the path was from episode 1 that I share with you guys was going the bodybuilding route. And so I met with a coach and signed up with the coach and then started my journey all within 3 days. And it sounds similar to this journey that I'm on giving up caffeine. I decided on Sunday that I was going to cut back on it. And I had the intention that it was eventually going to be completely cut out. And that's where I am right now. It's day 3 of me having it completely cut out. And I'll tell you guys right now, this has been the hardest part so far. Sorry, there's a little gnat flying around and also an ambulance going on outside, so it's kind of distracting. But the main decision for me to entirely cut out, or I would say I gradually weaned off, was mainly because I was feeling, okay, let me actually just first start with the caffeine intake that I was consuming. It was ridiculous. It was so much. And whenever I share this with any of friends or people in person, they're like, oh my God. And maybe you guys are the same way. And maybe you guys may be feeling the same way that I felt. And maybe it's an inspiring story for you to try it too as well. And if not, whatever. I'm just sharing this to just share it with you guys. And also because I was supposed to record a podcast right now at this time. And I was I can't think through concepts and methodologies and training and macros and workouts right now. So I'm just going to show up and share my story on this. But I was consuming, okay, so you guys know chameleon cold brew, concentrated coffee is what I was drinking. And I was drinking about 16 to 20 ounces of it, but I wasn't diluting it with water. And some of you guys are probably like, well, how many milligrams of caffeine is that? It's around 450 to 500 milligrams of caffeine. And that's what I would have first thing in the morning. And then I would have typically an energy drink in the afternoon, along with a Diet Coke, which has minimal caffeine, but it has caffeine in it. And so that was upwards of around maybe 800 900 milligrams of caffeine in a day. And like, I have never consumed that much, but for the last like 4 months, I have consumed that much caffeine. And it was getting to the point where I would love to see your guys' faces right now too. Like, if you guys think that's normal, if you guys are similar, or if you're like, holy cow, like I have 1 cup of coffee in the morning and that's it. It was getting to the point, you guys, by the end of the day, I was exhausted. And it wasn't because of like work or like anything like that. It was like, because I'm attributing it to my poor adrenals. We're just like, dude, what are you doing right now? Like, you're killing us. And I just felt run down. My body felt so heavy. All I wanted to do at like 6 o'clock was like fall asleep. And I typically haven't been like that. And like you guys know from Dr. Cabral being on my podcast a couple of months ago, like it's not rooted in anything with like hormones or cortisol, or maybe the cortisol was probably through the roof. I don't know, who knows. But Dr. Cabral read my test results a couple months ago and was like, dude, best results that I've ever seen. So I knew it wasn't linked to that. And I knew it wasn't anything hormonally going on. So I tried to rule things out. And on top of feeling that way too, I felt like my brain was so freaking foggy. Like trying to have conversations with people, I would tune in and tune out, and like I would be listening, but like then I would like go out into outer space, and like, yeah, I was so spacey, and I'm not typically like that. And it was just, things were harder than easier with that much caffeine. And so, and I didn't have, like, I wasn't like, I drink this and I have energy, you know? And I used to be like that. I love that about the caffeine because I get like a little kick in the morning when I have it. So the decision was like, when I was feeling that way, I was like, dude, something needs to change. And, you know, just like that Sunday, I was like, all right, this is it. Like, I'm starting tomorrow. I'm going to gradually wean back on my caffeine. And so for the first week, I took out, like I drank half of the concentrate. So I drank around probably 8 ounces of the concentrate in the morning. And then I just completely cut out like any and all energy drinks in the afternoon, and even like reduced the Diet Cokes to like 1 or 2, 3 a week. And so that was a pretty big drop. And initially, because I was still giving my body like the caffeine in the morning, it didn't feel so impactful. Like, sure, by like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I was like, okay, like, you know, I could use a little bit of a pick me up right now. I would love to have an energy drink, give me a little extra boost to finish out the day. But like, I guess because I had made this decision, it kind of just helped me carry through. Like what I noticed in the first week, you guys, and even more so into the second, but mainly the first, it was like, oh, I just enjoy this experience so much. Like, I enjoy the experience of having my coffee in the morning. I enjoy the experience of sipping on coffee while I go through, you know, my company's communication channels. I just enjoy the experience so much. And then I realized that it was more of a like want more than it was a need. And that's how it's kind of been for like the first, like these last 2 weeks. And so that was like the first week. And then I actually traveled to Austin, and I had a little bit more caffeine on that Sunday than I had for that entire week. Monday, the new Monday, that I had that entire week. And I was like, oh my God, like I could feel it. Like I was like, wow, like this is a good sign. So my body's like adjusting to it. So I came back from Austin, and that next day I decided to cut down from the 8 to the 4 ounces. So I had the 4 ounces of the chameleon concentrate, and that was it. And that wasn't too bad. Like I actually found myself not really like entirely finishing the 4 ounces. It was more so like I was just sipping on it throughout the day, and it got to like be noon, and I was like, okay, I'm pretty solid. Like I'm good. I'm not feeling the crashes like I wasn't feeling the small effects that I was feeling the week before. But I will tell you right now, so just some like cons of giving up caffeine while we're on this one right now, because this is some of the things I was experiencing am experiencing right now. Actually, let's just get into that. So, and I'll talk about like the pros of giving up caffeine and the cons of giving up caffeine. But this week, Monday, 2 days ago, I'm recording this on May 15th. It's a Wednesday. This will release on Monday of next week. I decided actually Sunday night, I was like, whatever, this is it. I'm cutting it out completely. And like, I don't know if you guys, if you follow me on Instagram, I'm sharing this on my Instagram story periodically throughout the journey. But Monday I was like, I wrote on the Instagram story, I'm like, all right, I'm calling these like phases. So phase one was like deciding factor and cutting back on it. Phase two was like cutting back on the cut back. And then phase three is I'm completely wiping out. It's been completely wiped out of my system for the last 2 days. Hey, just want to drop a huge appreciation to you guys listening to the show. It means a lot. I hope you guys are enjoying it, and there's so much more to come with it. If you are enjoying it, hit the subscribe button. I'd appreciate that tons. And also, it would help this podcast reach others who need to hear these messages too. Thanks so much, guys. Let's get back to the show. And some of the things I'm experiencing right now is, and more than anything that I've experienced in the last 2 weeks of starting this journey, is crashing. I am crashing. I mean, guys, the fact that I just had 7 meetings today, and the fact that I still had to get on and record this podcast, I know I needed to do it because I wanted to get it out to you guys. Like, one, and I just have immense dedication to showing up and getting you guys new podcasts. But also too, I've talked about this so many times before, but I have tons of discipline. And I mean, I'm like 90%. I'm also human. There's been times where like, I'm just like, nah, this isn't happening. But this is a show to you guys that I'm leaning on my discipline despite how I feel I'm showing up. And that I can attribute that to 99% of the reason why I have so much success is because I don't have motivation to do things. I have the discipline to do things. And that's what I encourage you guys to have when you're, starting out on your fitness journey, or you're, in your fitness journey, or you're starting out with learning how to eat better, or you're tracking macronutrients. Like every single day, you're not going to want to do those things. But if you have the discipline to do them, you'll be just so proud of yourself for showing up. So I knew I had to do this, and I was like so close to just being like, nah, I'm going to call it, but I'm here. Where was I going with that? Jesus. I think I was talking about the symptoms that I'm feeling. Like I am crashing. Yeah, I'm crashing. Like I'm so tired throughout the day. More so I realized it around like 1. I feel the lull. Like I was on a meeting yesterday and I could feel like, oh my God, my eyes are burning. I'm getting tired. If you guys are watching this on video right now, it's hard for me to keep my eyes completely open. Like they're half open. So I'm having the headaches. The headaches don't really come on until like mid-afternoon. Yesterday I woke up with a headache, and then it went away. So those are mainly the symptoms that I'm experiencing. I will say definitely like a decreased alertness at the moment. Difficulty in, especially when I'm in, like you guys can kind of see it happening, especially when I'm in this state of where I find myself at during the day of crashing. It's difficult for me to concentrate on things. And then the attachments that I've had to coffee, it's more like I expressed, it's more of a habitual attachment, right? It's like I wake up in the morning, I have my cup of coffee, I enjoy that experience. So these are some of the types of things I'm experiencing, but I want to kind of, segue into what the pros I'm experiencing too as well, especially you guys are following me on social. Like I gotta say, I'm pretty funny on my stories because I'm being a bit dramatic. Like people are like, why are you doing this? I'm like, bro, it's all questionable, man. Like I'm joking around. It is hard. I will say that it is hard. And I'm being funny and dramatic on it, but I will say there are definitely some pros I am experiencing when I'm not in the moments of crashing, in the moments of losing my concentration, in the moments of being entirely like alert. The biggest thing that I can say that I'm noticing so far is actually when I'm not crashing is the opposite of what I'm experiencing in a crash. My ability, when I get up in the morning, typically I would dive into my phone and I would dive into, I would do the apps thing that I talk about trying to navigate away from. I've definitely loosened my boundary on that. And more so throughout the day, if I'm sitting at my computer and I'm working on something, you know, my phone's right next to me. Sometimes I would pick it up and I would just kind of like sit there and like dead scroll. I am not doing that anymore. When I wake up in the morning, it's like, okay, you know, what do I need to do? Do I need to sit down at the computer right away and get ready to work? Am I going to the gym? Am I going to an appointment? Whatever it may be, I get up and I, you know, take care of Maverick and then I go and do that thing. And my phone is just secondary. Throughout the day, this bad boy is like right next to me the last couple of days and even through the weekend. And I have just been able to lock in on what I am working on. And my ability to stay in and not, I don't feel the need to come out until like I've got it done, if that makes sense. Like there's a couple projects that we're working on right now and I needed to make the team sure the team was like supported in that sense. And I was able to just lock in, finish a document and like come out. And then I'm going back into other documents now and I'm able to lock in and like, okay, I've done what I've made some headway here. I can come out. I haven't been able to fully, like I used to be able to do that, but recently, like I like I said, loosened that boundary too as well. What I didn't mention, what I was experiencing too, actually at the beginning, why was a reason why I started on this journey was sleep. You guys, if you follow me on social, like I am proud of how I sleep. I sleep pretty freaking good. But what I was experiencing is my HRV was getting lower and lower. And my HRV, if you guys don't know what that is, heart rate variability, it's how your body handles stress. And my HRV has been low. And usually I'm like 150, 140 and like I'm cruising. But it's been like 80s, 70s. I'm like, what? Like, who is this? Like, what is going on? And my sleep efficiency wasn't good. And typically, like I see that vary throughout the month because of my period. But typically when I'm like not on my period and it's like the weeks following that, I'm pretty strong with sleep, but that's even been affected. So something that I've noticed in the last 2 days of completely cutting it out is I've been able to sleep better and I've been able to fall asleep. My like latency is like 7 to 15 minutes. Whereas like before too, in terms of like getting to sleep and falling asleep, you know, I would kind of rustle and bustle some nights, not all the nights, but I would rustle and bustle and like things would be going on in my head. I'd be thinking about work. Which that also comes with like how you wind down, but I'm attributing some of it to at least the caffeine intake I was consuming. But that's another positive side effect. I'm sleeping better. And then another really solid side effect that I'm noticing is my ability to, outside of being crashed, when I'm in the crash mode, which you guys are experiencing that right now as I'm sharing this podcast, but I'm able to articulate my thoughts way better and way clearer. And I'm also able to be way calmer when I'm interacting with the group of coaches, the team, one-on-one individually when I hold those types of meetings, in person with my assistant. Like I'm able to just be way calmer and I can think through my thoughts faster and then I can articulate what those thoughts are easier. And I think that's honestly the biggest upside for me on what I'm experiencing. Energy, you know, people talk a lot about energy. I haven't really noticed energy yet. I'm hoping that comes in a couple weeks. But to like where I'm going with this, right? So how long do I, like somebody asked me that today, they're like, how long are you planning on doing this? And like, if you guys have, maybe you guys are like, oh, like that's super, it honestly comes down to like a test of my willpower. What I'm realizing through this entire thing, like I didn't have to do it. Sure, I was experiencing some things that were leading to be like, dude, you're probably consuming way too much caffeine. I've never done this type of thing before. I've consumed caffeine, like all of the time and didn't even think about it. But what I'm realizing is like, this is a really big test of willpower. It's like, dude, I still have coffee, the chameleon concentrate there in my fridge. And I think that can totally tie to like, when you guys have like things in your cabinets that you know are there and you know that you could snack on and you could eat, it's like do you, like, I could easily go and have that cup of coffee right now. And it's like, but what happens in my brain personally is like, then you're just letting yourself down. And that's the way you think I should think about it too as well when you're embarking on a fitness journey, which I think is a beautiful parallel. You have the choice to eat the food that you know is either out of your macro range for the day or just isn't, the pizza or like, burger more times in a week than you should. You have the choice. You have the choice to have that. And then you have the choice to not have it, right? So like I have the choice. I can go into my fridge right now and I could take the chameleon cold brew and I could drink it. And I could probably, I have an entire great feeling after consuming it, but then I'm also letting myself down. So that's a cool parallel to think about. Oh, someone was like, how long are you going to do this for? Like, what's your thoughts on like I also realize I'm saying like, and a ton of times right now. I think that I'm going to carry this out with no caffeine throughout the rest of May. So it's May 15th. There's 31 days in May. So I'm going to try and carry it out for the rest of the month and see where we're at, kind of reassess things then. I think I'm going to do a follow-up podcast to share with you guys where I'm at that point and how I'm doing and what I'm experiencing, because you guys are getting a full-on experience here right now with me on like how I'm feeling 3 days post cutting out completely and the crashes and all that kind of stuff. So if you guys are looking to, maybe there's some of you guys are inspired by this. I know I've talked to some people that have been inspired by it. The way that I would, if I were you, tips on like quitting caffeine is do exactly how I approached it. Do the gradual reduction. Start like first like commit to it and to be like, all right, I'm going to do this and I'm going to fully like send it. Start by just cutting back slowly rather than completely quitting it abruptly. And then what I have been this week drinking is, and something that would be an alternative, is decaf coffee. Now, I know decaf coffee is not the best for you, especially with the way it's made. And I'm just saying that because it's not good the way it's made. But, I mean, it's going to hold me over. It's the experience that I enjoy the most. But I have been drinking the decaf. Just actually today was the first day that I had the decaf. I had it this morning because yesterday was rough. Yesterday was really hard. But you guys could have like herbal tea or infused water or things like that are great alternatives. And then I would just like assess how you're feeling. Like, I think it's cool how I'm breaking it down personally on like phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. I completely made that up. And I have, different feelings and emotions physically and mentally that I've experienced in each of those phases, right? That I share with you guys. And if you're inspired by cutting out caffeine, if you want to, or don't want to, those are some cool strategies of which I would probably recommend that you try. So I plan on coming back and doing a podcast in like, I don't know, maybe in June, end of June or start of July to let you guys know how, probably mid-June actually, if I'm stopping this June, how depending on where I'm at. We'll see we'll see where it goes. But if you guys want to stay tuned with the journey, go check out my Instagram at Nikkistott, NIKKIEYSTOTT. But thanks for listening, you guys, to my journey. Maybe it was inspiring, maybe it wasn't. Maybe you're like, holy cow, how did that person consume so much caffeine? Maybe you're the one that consumes that much caffeine. I don't know. But I hope that, some of those pros and cons, so what I said of like what you may be experiencing and what you can look forward to, maybe it could have been inspiring to start your own caffeine reduction journey. Anyway, majority of this was just to share with you guys a personal experience that I'm going through, as I love to be just open, honest, and transparent on this podcast with y'all. So if anything, I hope you guys enjoyed my story, and I will see you in the next podcast. Peace out. Hey guys, real quick. If you're interested in taking your body to the next level, lose body fat, build more muscle, feel more confident, do it alongside one of our 30+ professional coaches. Work one-on-one with her to eliminate all of the guesswork that you may have And all you need to do is just do the work that she tells you to do to get to those goals of yours. Now, to learn more, click the link below this podcast and apply to our VIP program right now.